Well, hello. It is I, Marceline the Worthless femboy man person here, and I love the Lisa series. I've bested the game multiple times on pain mode, joyless, armless. I have 100%ed it with all achievements, and I love making videos about it. You might say I love the series a bit too much, LMAO. An interesting thing I noticed is that the fan base for the games is small, but they are hella passionate. Once you embrace the series, it leaves a mark on you. However, I also noticed a lot of people don't even want to touch the series, which is 100% okay. The Lisa series deals with a lot of heavy, dark, and uncomfortable themes. It displays it in your face. You cannot avoid it. It's why trying to recommend it to someone is difficult unless you know them really well. Even my bestie, my closest companion, was like, skip this one if it's too much. In addition, the difficulty is also something that is off-putting for a lot of people. The permadeath system, the ambushes, joy mutants, the Russian roulette event, and many more make this game really difficult. And not just difficult, but like BS difficult. That's why I'm kind of motivated to make a guide about making your time with Lisa the Painful less painful. And hopefully those who need some help could use this video as a guide. Now, this won't be 100% hand-holding, but this guide will cover the essentials. Of course, there will be spoilers for Lisa the Painful. For real, if you've never played this series, and you're going to, it's best to play this game blind. But whatever, I'm not your mama. Let's go. Before I give you my precious tips, I have to explain a theme that's throughout the game, even from the very start. This game hates the player. Not literally because it's just a game, but mechanically. It takes the normal RPG system and gives you a middle finger, quite literally. I will explain this as we cover different aspects of the game, but yeah, this game will do everything it can to fuck you over. And honestly, that's pretty unique. Most games don't do that, but Lisa the Painful goes, fuck you, then again, fuck you, then again, fuck you, and again, fuck you, and so on and so forth. So, when it comes to combat, in my opinion, there are 3 strategies you can use which are pretty OP, and when I say OP, broken. But it must be said, early game is much harder than late game. But don't worry, I will give advice on early game later in this video. Strategy number 1. AoE, 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 area of effect moves are broken. For example, head slide moves is headstrong. For real, it hits everyone, and it has a high chance to make enemies fall down. Plus, you can keep spamming it, and they keep falling down. It's ridiculously broken. Brad, the main character, has these broken AoE moves, and he can never permadeath. Mind you, joy mutants can't be fallen, and it isn't great for solo fights, but fuck, it's so strong. Remember the boss in the bathhouse? Remember how scary he looks? Head slide turns it into a cakewalk, baby. The second strategy, oil spit and fire moves. A lot of people hate this because it's super broken. You can kill anything in like 3 to 4 turns with this combo, but this guide doesn't give a shit about what other people think. It's about winning, and Fiends, oil spit and fire equals winning. Brad has fire moves. Only if it was paired with a birdie for the combo to work. For real, it's kind of poetic that Birdie and Brad have this combo. In a way, Birdie is a lot like Brad, but he lives a happier life. Use this combo at your heart's desire. Don't let other people tell you otherwise. Now, it's not so great with fights with lots of enemies, but it's pretty strong against solo fights, and especially bosses. I'm looking at you, Satan. The third strategy. Status effects. Bleed, blind, burn, poison, deep poison. They stack, baby, and drain health in like seconds. It's really good against solo tank fights, like joy mutants. It's definitely the weakest out of the 3 because it requires a huge setup time, and you kind of want to end fights quickly, but still, it is hella strong. Now, it's time for some extra tips. End fights quickly. because enemies can buff themselves, or God forbid they use a permadeath move on ya. Next, healing skills are pretty rare. Only a few party members have them, and especially an AoE one. My advice? Damage over healing. Why? You can heal all you want, but you can't heal permadeath, or high damage attacks which leads to an instant KO. I'm not saying don't use it, but damage is more important. I almost forgot. The hide status. Very underrated. You don't see it often, but if a party member has it, it's a great defense. Plus, I have seen people focus on stunning. It can be powerful, but in my opinion, it's too inconsistent. I'd rather dish out damage or take a chance with Fallen than risking it for a low chance of a stun. I don't know. I'm just speaking from experience. Wait, there's more! This isn't really a tip, but mix it up. Play with different party members. It's really fun playing with different skills, and sometimes it can help you win fights. So items are really important in Lisa, because unlike other RPGs where you can hoard them, you can't in Lisa. You can lose them all in seconds. It can even sting even more because using an item can change the tide of the battle. For example, those super precious fire bombs can make fights much easier, but they're quite hard to come by, so you gotta be careful and think about it if you really want to use one. Or how about a fancy perfume? A regular perfume revives a teammate, but because it barely heals them, they could get KO'd again instantly. A fancy one will fully heal a teammate, keeping them safer. Lots of items are like this. Items can give you a buff, healing, or put out damage, but it's in small doses. The better variations are actually more useful, but much harder to get. So, how can you get the most out of your items? With items that offer smaller healing, use them outside of battle, and treat them like an off-battle meal. You can still use them in battle, but you may have to use multiple ones to keep your party from being KO'd. Then, use the rarer and better items in the oh snap moments, where you need that good healing, or a jump buff, or a fancy perfume. In battle, they're way more productive. Now, after saying all that, the most important thing about items, and well, mags too, is to use them as much as you can throughout the game. Do not hoard them. I know, I just said you gotta be careful when you use them, but remember that thing I said about how the game hates you? There are situations where you may lose all your items, meaning all that hoarding will be for moot. You saved up all those jerkies? Oh well, time to say goodbye, you loser. Remember, in most RPGs you can keep and hoard all the items in the world, but not in Lisa. You get punished for keeping items and mags in your inventory. What do? Find a balance when using items. Use the better ones in fights that are dangerous, and try spending mags too. You can lose all those in seconds. Maker's breath only in a Lisa game where one piece of advice goes against another one. Damn you, Austin! In addition, a small mention about equipment. Upgrade them when you can, but they're not a priority. They can be expensive, but if you want to do some grinding, save up and buy them as soon as possible. Don't put it on your to-do list. Buy them immediately. Oh no, it's permadeath! So like, this feature is actually why some people will never touch this game. The idea of losing someone forever. Skills gone, equipment gone, everything gone. So how do we combat this? How do you counter permadeath? To put it simply, you can't. It just happens. I know what you're thinking, Fiends. I'm about to bring up Joy Mutants because not only are they scary, but it's guaranteed that they have a permadeath move. Yeah and no. I will talk about Joy Mutants in more detail later, but honestly, you can avoid most Joy Mutants, meaning you don't have to risk losing a party member. What's much scarier is the enemies you have to fight that have a permadeath move. For example, Spoony Sidewalk V is someone you must fight, and he has a net break permadeath move. And in my playthroughs, he's killed more party members than Joy Mutants. Okay, it's pretty scary that there are dudes you gotta fight that have permadeath move. What do? Kill them first. They can't permadeath you if they're permadead. There is no counter. There is no secret item that can save a teammate from a permadeath move. All you can do is to end the fight quickly by any means necessary. Oil fire, oil fire, oil fire. Also, I have heard people say applying blind works to counter permadeath moves, like they can miss it, but I've always gotten mixed results. Sometimes it doesn't hit, other times it does. So yeah, have fun with permadeath moves. Okay, so like I'm lobbing these two together because they're similar, just reskins. They both have permadeath moves and more importantly, lots of health. They're tanks pretty much. People tend to hate bosses that have ridiculous amount of health, but honestly I love the fact that the Joy Mutants and bosses have lots of health, because it means fights drag out longer, meaning there's going to be a chance that they will use a permadeath move. How do we deal with them? The easy answer is to say, look at the combat parts section of this video. Yes, it works on bosses too. It's kind of sad that Austin never made them stand out more. Apart from Satan, Wally and Rando, who are definitely the more creative bosses, the other ones are just beefy versions of regular enemies. They just have a different appearance. They're memorable, but in terms of gameplay, they're kind of repetitive and a bit lame. What? Grinding? Isn't Lisa known not to have grinding? Isn't that something that people praise Lisa for? Yes, but there are two grinding areas which I want to give attention to. One is for items, and the other one is for levels. In the first area, there is a tunnel. When going through it, shadowy figures will spawn randomly, and infinitely too. You can always return to it. Defeating them will give you little XP, but they do have a decent chance to give you jerkies and sodas. Combine that with the tent in the first area, you can safely grind for some items. Then there is the ECW area. Once you complete the first wrestling fight, you can then do a dystopian rumble. Dystopian? I don't know how you say that. Whatever. It's the best source of getting XP. By all means, use these two grinding spots. Get some items and levels, especially the levels, since XP isn't given to party members on standby. So like, open campfires are a gamble. You want to rest your party to full HP and MP, at the risk of being poisoned, getting a gift, nothing happening, or a teammate abandoning you, or even worse, getting kidnapped. Hell no. It is never worth the risk. Ever. Ever, ever. The game loves to be sneaky and put open campfires in important spots to tempt you to use them. Never use them. I repeat myself, do not use them. Use a service instead. It costs like 10 mags or so, and it protects you. Hell, in the first area there is a tent which you can use for free as many times as you want. Yeah, there is a scripted event where you will get attacked and lose some stats, but people don't realize you can still use it afterwards. It does go away when you progress through the game, so keeping that in mind. But later on where you can wrestle at the EWC, see, I still got it right this time. If you become a wrestler, you can use the free resting area for wrestlers. Use that if you don't want to pay 10 mags. In addition, what makes resting a powerful tool is that it will remove joy withdrawal from Brad and other party members. It will come back, But hey, if the withdrawal is annoying you and you want it gone, resting is the solution. And a reminder, one last time, use the paid ones. Never risk using the open campfire. Please. Here we go, here we go, here we go. All you fiends are so hyped up now and thinking, oh my god, it's pain mode, pain mode, pain mode. It's so tough. What's Marceline going to say? And Marceline is going to say, it's not really that hard. A matter of fact, pain mode adds more areas, the ending is slightly different, fights are slightly different, there are more joy mutants which you have to fight, and you only have one save per save throw. Pain mode isn't really more difficult. Okay, it is more difficult than normal mode, but really, it just offers a different experience. All my advice in this video applies to pain mode. For real, it's not that bad. So by the name of this section, this is referencing the choice that the player has to make, more on that later, which is to keep Brad stronger or focus on keeping the team alive at the cost of Brad's damage. In the end, it doesn't matter, but what does matter is your playstyle. I know, you can always grind back the items you've lost, and even if you sacrifice a party member, there's always a new one you can recruit. But if you want Brad to be the king of damage, you have to keep his arms. Combo moves do additional damage, and it does add up. If Brad loses his arms, it makes him weaker. His need for joy rises. He's more dependent on his team. Remember, Brad is the only party member that will always be around. It's valid to throw the other party members under the bus, or losing your items to keep his arms. I know that's easier said than done. There is no easy option, but remember, the more morally good option will make the game harder, where being selfish makes it easier. So don't feel too bad if you want to keep one of Brad's arms at the cost of your party members getting the little old chop chop. I don't know why I'm laughing, it's the old chop chop. Buzz's gotta give them the old chop chop. We got the joy down in my heart. Whew. Joy is a drug that fully heals you and gives you guaranteed crits. It's an item that's used to give you a buff in tougher fights, but it's something you really don't want to take. Ultimately, I never take it because for personal reasons, it's not right. I don't like drugs, but that's just me. Who cares though? This video is about making Lisa easy. Here's my advice on using joy. Use it on Brad and the team. Don't use it on Brad, but use it on the team. Or just sell them. Some party members get joy withdrawal too, not just Brad, so buff them with joy. If you don't want to use it, sell them. They're worth quite a bit of mags. It's about your own personal mindset. Again, it's best not to use it, but hey, we gotta finish the game, and we gotta use everything we can. Being bad sometimes feels good. With sacrifices, you just have to deal with them, but you can make the most out of them. I know that's kind of weird, let me explain. The sacrifices are meant to make progressing through the game harder, and you can't avoid them. But if you have a certain mindset, they're not that bad, and for real, they are manageable. So let's go over the 5 sacrifices, shall we? Yes, you heard me right, 5 sacrifices. I'm sorry, Wiki, but you missed the one about the gang that demands Brad to give up the mags, or risk getting the village destroyed. That counts. I don't care, it counts. The first sacrifice. Terry. Or your items. So this one is a sacrifice tutorial, because you ain't really losing much. It isn't really a sacrifice. The badass Chris Columbo is all your items. Or Terry. 99% of the time, you should keep Terry. Because even if you don't use him, make him play Russian roulette. I don't know. But then you may ask, what about my items? Well, there's a simple trick. Don't pick anything up when you reach the sacrifice. Once Chris takes your items, backtrack and pick everything you left. So technically speaking, you really didn't lose much. Now, there is the argument of keeping your items because Terry becomes an enemy later on, and you have to fight him, and he does give you a ton of XP, which is really great if you want to make Brad super powerful, but ultimately keeping Terry is the better option, in my opinion. The second sacrifice. Brad's arm, or a party member. Do you remember the previous section where I talked about mindset and playstyle? And it's up to you to determine if you want Brad to be really strong, or your party members strong, at the cost of Brad's ability to fight? If you want to make Brad strong, and your main source of damage, keep his arm. Or, if you want your team to be stronger, lose it. Of course, subjectivity comes into play, because we get attached to the characters. However, this guide is about making the most out of the game that hates the player. Most playthroughs, I give up Brad's arm, because on pain mode, Brad gets so much joy withdrawal that combos do nothing. I value having a strong team over Brad's strength, but people have done a Brad solo run, so this is up to you. Do what you think is best. The third sacrifice, mags, or fight, which if you do lose, not only do you lose all your mags, but a village gets destroyed. Dun dun dun! Like I said before, the wiki doesn't count this one as a sacrifice. It is, cause I said so. Like the other ones, you're given a choice. Let's explain the situation in more detail. A gang appears out of nowhere and is like, give me your mags or we will destroy that village. If you do, they go away. If not, you will fight. If you lose though, you lose all your mags and the village goes bye bye. What makes this fight really annoying is that not only do the gang appear early game, but they have a high agility and will stun you to death. So what do? Well, give them the mags. Remember the items tip about using your items and mags on the go? Even if you have 15 mags, just give it to them. The village they threaten to destroy is kind of important. Plus, I know what someone will say, but the XP they give! Since this is early game, you have to use firebombs plus RNG to really stand a chance against them. And honestly, avoiding fights is something rare in Lisa. And sometimes it's best to avoid them altogether. Trust me, believe me, this fight is never worth it. Ever, ever, ever. Well, apart from the wicked music that plays when you fight them. The fourth sacrifice. 3 party members' lives. Or nipple. Oh god. Oh no, it's the most toughest choice ever. Nah, not really. Myself and my best friend, we always 100% sacrifice the party members. You monsters, you may ask. How could you do that? Let's back up a little. Buzzo is like, dolphin laugh, buddy's nipple, or your teammates' lives. It's just a flesh wound. But you don't want to hurt Buddy. What do? Do the maths. There are 30 party members you can recruit, and Buzzo will kill 3 of them. That's 10% of the total recruitable party members. But okay, you may like some of them. Then just swap them out with the other ones you don't like. That's it. If you want to keep them alive, I guess hurt Buddy, but they will attack you in the end of the game anyway. Buddy is all that matters to Brad. I understand this is a tough decision. It's interesting how if you choose the 3 party members' lives, Buzzo is like, dude, it's just a flesh wound. A flesh wound over 3 lives? Reconsider. Even if you lose strong party members, you can always grind. But hey, if you want to keep your team alive, by all means make Buddy suffer. And afterwards, you should feel like shit, you horrible piece of shit. Hurting Buddy. What's wrong with you? The final sacrifice. Brad's other arm. All of your items and mags. Or both? Both? And the final choice. The final sacrifice. A mix between Chris's one and Buzzo's first one. Your items and mags? No equipment for some reason. He says it but he never takes it. Or your arm. Or both if you ask him why he's doing it. This all depends on what your plan is. Keeping Brad strong or keeping your precious items and mags. For real, it's always the items and mads. You can grind for them. The hallway with shadowy figures, remember? They drop mads and have a chance to drop mystery jerky and diet Coca-Cola. You can grind for your items and mads back. Brad's arm is gone forever. This is meant to be a tough decision, but for real, I can always just get my items and mads back again. Not so smart now, are you stupid buzzo, dolphin laughing, weirdo, kind of depressing, kind of sad man you are, Mr. Buzzo. Ugh. And I know one of your fiends will ask, what about the question option though? No. Just no. In my first playthrough, I picked it and I had a bad time. I guess if you really want to get the most out of Lisa, pick it. But it's a trick choice. You will get double sacrificed. And double sacrificed is not a good feeling. Feels bad, man. Here we go. You fiends thought I wouldn't include this? The Russian roulette minigame. The 100% bullshit game where if you lose, a party member will die forever. For real, there is no tips apart from save strumming. Good luck if you're playing it on pain mode, tee-hee-hee. Now, there's one thing I saw, which is using Olan and making him equip luck-based items, which make him have a better chance of not dying, apparently. But after doing some tests and trials, I call bullshit on that. I died like 3 times on my first go. You'll most likely lose someone forever, but that's fine because there are 30 party members in the game you can recruit. So don't feel too bad if you lose someone. Well, actually no, that's the whole point. You're meant to feel like shit. Oh well. Finally, the last tip. The most important tip of them all. No matter how much you try to reduce the pain, the game is a life-ruining experience. Even if you manage to reach the end of the game without losing a party member, you will have to kill them. No matter how much you try to keep Buddy safe, you will hurt her the most. No matter if you keep one or both of Brad's arms, by the end, Brad will be broken in the inside and out. No matter how many times you sleep to get rid of joy withdrawal, it will come back, and it will take over. No matter how many items you have, or how great your equipment is, they mean nothing in the end. No matter how much you grind, in the end, it was for nothing. No matter how far Brad goes to escape his past, Lisa still haunts him. My point is, the game by its nature is painful. It will leave its mark on you. There is no easy way out. Just like the use of joy. Sure, in the moment it's super powerful, but it will bite you, and you gotta deal with it. I hope this guide helps you. It was fun gathering information and putting it into a video. For real, this game isn't that hard. It's just hella painful. As always, I never ask for likes, subs, comments or shares on my videos because I believe if the video is good enough, then it should come naturally. But whenever other content creators contribute in big or small ways, I will always give them a shout out. The wonderful, talented and adorable Kuma made the avatar sprite for the thumbnail of this video, and holy shit, we need pink rando uniform mod now. It looks so good. The fireball too. That's so intense. I love it. This is such a good avatar sprite. It genuinely looks like it belongs in an anime. I love it so much. Their links are in the description. Show them some love. Commission them. Just a heads up, they do make not safe for work art. The naughty stuff. But regardless, they totally deserve more followers. Support content creators I support. Kuma is amazing, and you fiends have to check them out. That's an order too. With that said, see ya fiends.